All right, here we go. This is the new, or 4.2. Now, this section, y'all already know how to do. Okay, except for one or two parts, you already know how to do it. I'm just gonna go to the whiteboard, and we're gonna talk about this. And I also talked about this in the review, so y'all should know what to do here. Remember me in the review, and I might have done this for the review for the 110. Do you remember me talking about how in pre-algebra you were taught today x plus 2 plus x minus 3, and you were told to distribute the 1 here and distribute. Can y'all see my screen?
No.
Oh, it is in, sorry.
Oh no, I know what he's
Fine.
Present screen. Where's present screen? Oh shoot, it's down here. Hold on a second. That's why I don't like to split this screen. All right, here it comes. It should be on its way now. God dang it. I asked for these TV screens to be changed 2 years ago. They're still like this. Damn Russians. All right, here we go. So, back then, they told you to distribute the 1 and distribute the 1 here, and you get x plus 2 plus x minus what? 3. 2x is equal to what? Or 2x minus what? 1. Y'all remember how to do that? Well, now they don't want you to be redneck. They want you to be smart and sophisticated. So now they want you to work with functions. Okay? Work with functions. If f of x is equal to x plus 2 and g of x is equal to x minus 3, then I want you to give me f plus g of x. And what is f plus g of x? 2x what? So did you do this in pre-algebra? Yes. Now you just have to hold your pinky up. All right? The same thing with subtraction. If they gave you x plus 2, 2x plus 2 minus x plus 7, then you distribute the 1, you distribute the negative, and you get 2x minus x, 2x plus 2 minus x minus 7. And what's 2x minus x? And what's 2 minus 7? Over here, hold your pinky up. F of x is equal to 2x plus 2. G of x is equal to x minus 7, x plus 7. And they want you to write f minus g of x, which is x minus 5. Capiche? So nothing new there. So let's continue. Did I go over this in the review? Y'all remember me going over this before?
No.
Okay, it must have been no college algebra. All right, so then they say f of x, or x plus 3 times x minus 7. And they told you to use the FOIL method, which would be x squared times, well, negative 7 plus 4 plus 3 is what? Negative 4x minus what? 21. Now, they want you to say f of x is equal to x plus 3, g of x is equal to x minus 7, and what is f times g of x. X squared minus 4x minus 21. Now, again, most of y'all know how to do this. I'm just going over it. And we got to go over composition because sometimes y'all get composition mixed up. So the last one is if I tell you to take x squared plus 4x and divide by x, that's going to give me x plus what? 4. Here, f of x is equal to x squared plus 4x. G of x is equal to x. What is f divided by g of x? X plus what? 4. So the 4 operations you know how to do. So I'm going to kind of skip over that, and I want to get to the composition. All right, so the composition of functions. Composition of functions. Composition of functions is nothing but a 25-cent word. Anybody know the word? What do you do when you compose a function of another function? I'm asking y'all to see if y'all know, like review. Do y'all know? 25-cent word for substitution. Y'all remember back when we were doing, I don't know if we do it, but you're going to do it. Did we go over, yeah, elimination substitution? We went over that, right? Yep. Okay. Because in Math 110, that's the last unit. That's unit 4. So it's kind of fast backwards. All right. Composition of function, if you had y is equal to 2x plus 3, and you had x plus 2y is equal to 8, then you could take y and do what? Plug and chug, right? Yep. All right. Same kind of concept with composition. F of x is equal to x plus 4. G of x is equal to x squared. Now this is the part that y'all screw up. Now are y'all paying attention in Easley and Pendleton? Because this is the part that I will test you on. What is F composed of G? Can somebody tell me what you do here?
Okay, so would it be like x cubed plus 4?
You would take, okay, well, yeah, I think you're in the right area. Was that Mr. Smith?
Yes, that's me.
I knew it wasn't Pendleton. But anyway, you take, this is what Hubert explains. I want you to highlight, take your highlighters out, and I want you to highlight F. That first letter means that you're going to rewrite that function with a big ass set of parentheses. So, I'm sorry, big A set of parentheses. Sorry about that. I'm not supposed to say mule in class. All right, so I'm going to rewrite that function with a big set of parentheses. Everybody with me? Now highlight this a different color. And that means that I'm going to take that letter and do what? Plug it in. And that is how you do composition of functions. So your final answer, F composed of G, fog is equal to x squared plus what? Now, I want you, who was that that just walked? Did somebody walk out or in?
Out.
Oh, I thought somebody might have walked in. I'm sorry. All right. So I want you to do these. I want you to do G composed of F. I want you to do F composed of F. And I want you to do G composed of G. Golf, fuff, God. If you can do those 4, then you can do composition of functions. And if you can't do it, then that means that you're pretty much a failure in life. You know they're shooting Halloween 2 and 3 in North Carolina?
Are they really?
They're doing a whole another Halloween series?
Yep. That's why Jason and Michael never what? They never die. I would love to see Jason versus Michael. I had the idea way back a long time ago of Freddy versus Jason. I had that idea a long time ago, and they made a movie out of it. I wish they would do it Michael versus Jason.
I'm sure.
Jason would win.
Man, because Jason's voice is not that.
Jason makes up like 2 Michael Myers, so he does. Jason's huge.
But also, like, Jason's way more supernatural. Like, Michael can take a bullet.
Yeah, Jason got struck by lightning and came back to life. And I saw a horror movie, but I don't know if I'm going to go see it. But it's a horror movie, and it shows the audience jumping. What's the name of the movie?
Oh, it's like, it's an app on the phone that tells how many days or how much longer.
What's in that 105 days or something like that, isn't it? What's it called?
I can't remember.
I don't know if I'm going to watch that. I don't care nothing about stuff like that. Although, what was that movie about things coming to, not premonition, what was it? Where the teenagers knew they were going to die and they couldn't stop it?
Final Destination.
Yeah. That was a good series of movies. Of course, I'm talking to myself, so I don't know why I'm even talking. I'll just shut up.
Have you gone to see the new Zombieland? Wait, I asked you that last time, didn't I?
Yeah, he said he's not going to go see it. He don't like zombies.
What did I say? What kind of movie?
Zombieland 2.
You said that's scary?
No, he doesn't like Woody Harrelson.
Yes, I don't like him at all.
You don't like laughing?
What did he say?
You don't like laughing.
And I like laughing at drunk people getting tased. That's my sense of humor.
That is kind of funny.
That's why I like to see Squidward. I like to see him get beat up. I like to see Plankton get stepped on. So I guess I've got a morbid sense of humor. I like to see protesters get run over. So I like to see stuff like that. So, all right.
You watch SpongeBob?
Yes, I do, with my kids. I try to be a good father when I'm not at DSS court. All right, G of x is equal to x squared. So I'm going to rewrite G of x with a big set of what? Big set of parentheses. So parentheses squared, and then I'm going to plug in what? F of x, because that is my thing that I'm supposed to plug in. And lo and behold, we have shortcut number what? X squared plus 8x plus 16. F composed of F. So what am I going to do with F? I'm going to rewrite it with a big set of what? Parentheses. Plus 4. And now I'm going to plug in what? X plus 4. And I get x plus 8. And now G composed of G, I'm going to rewrite G with a big set of what? And then I'm going to plug in, and I get, and that's how you do composition. Now, I don't know how many of you have forgotten it. I don't know how many of you have never seen it. It's not very difficult if you do it the way I tell you to do it. Capiche? Jacob, you remember this, or are you just now seeing it, or are you watching porn? Which one is it?
Yep, you good?
Okay, Jacob's not going to answer.
I'm just not seeing this.
Who's Jacob?
Jacob. Jake. Isn't your name Jacob?
Yeah, but I haven't gone by Jacob in like 10 years.
Okay, is that some kind of self-esteem issue thing or what? Do you have smokestacks on your truck or what? You don't mind being called Jacob?
Put on there. I got my smokestacks last week.
Okay, on your Honda? Okay, so let's go back to the handy-dandy, whatever that thing's called, slideshow. And there is I just showed you all of those, pretty much. Okay? So, let's move on. So, I think y'all can handle that, but go ahead and write it down because I just gave you one example. So you do this one, put it in your notes, and that will be another example that you have for, I'll do composition. Let's do composition. Write down A, B, C, and D, and then I'll give you E. We'll do composition. We'll do F composed of G, and F will be G composed of F. So I want you in your notebook to do A, B, C, and D, and then on the slide, on this whiteboard, we're going to do E and F. So go ahead and do that. Everybody. That means everybody should be writing and not playing on your laptops. I don't know why y'all want to take advantage of me. Why do y'all want to do that? So anybody at Pendleton like seeing drunk people get tased?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one. Jake watches Martha Stewart, so I'm not going to worry about him. I like to watch live PD too when they beat the crap out of some of those people, especially the ones that are belligerent.
That ain't real.
If you've never watched Chris Rock, How Not to Get Your Ass Whooped by Policemen, you need to watch it. Have we watched that in here?
No.
Has anybody seen that?
That's hilarious.
It is.
I think we should watch it.
Pendleton, you need to watch that. Go ahead and pull it up on your laptop because I know you're not doing math, so you can pull it up on your laptop. But I'll pull it up. We'll pull it up at the end of class. How about that?
You like
Jake,
Cat Will?
remember, you got to remind me to pull it up, Jake. No.
I'll do it at 10:45. I'll remind you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, you don't get out of the car saying whiskey tango foxtrot. Am I doing? You don't do that. Just like this
You
morning.
like Cat Will?
I had an idiot this morning. I'm on a 2-lane road. I only live 3 minutes from the Anderson campus. And I had an idiot go by me on a 2-lane road. I was going 55. And he passed me doing at least 70. And there was like 6 cars in front of me. So where is he going? He's not going anywhere. I pulled up to the red light, and I'm pulled beside the first car, and guess where that idiot is? 6 cars back. People like that, I ain't kidding you. Now, if he was an emergency, he should have had his flashers on. He didn't. He wasn't in no emergency. He was just one of these people that think they're important.
Did you shoot him the bird?
No, but don't do that. Then you get your ass shot. I chased 2 people down by doing that one time.
You what?
I chased 2 people down for shooting me the bird. And I told both of them. Both of them were teenagers, didn't know no better. I didn't know that when I was chasing them down. But I chased them down, and one of them kept going for 5 or 6 miles. He didn't want to pull over. And the other one pulled up at a stoplight, and I got out, and I said, you see this? This is a gun holster. I said, you shoot a bird at somebody might pull a gun out and shoot your ass. I did that to one. The other one I said the same thing to. You don't do stuff like that.
Yeah.
1, you're not that important, and 2, they're not that important. Now, if you're the President of the United States one day, Jake, you might be important enough to drive like that. But until you become the head of a country or state, you're not that important.
Just 2020.
Did you ever vote for me?
I think you're that important, but you're not. Okay, so F composed of G. I'm going to rewrite F with a big set of what?
Parentheses.
And I'm going to plug in x minus 9. Now, you can do the algebra. I'm going to do the algebra. That's going to be x minus 9 times x minus 9 quantity what? Squared, which is shortcut number what? Number 2, Hubert. X minus 9 times x squared minus 18x plus what? 81. And you can stop there, or you can distribute. That will be x to the third minus 18x squared plus 81x minus 9x squared minus or plus what, 162, somebody check my math, x plus or minus 729, somebody check my math. And then you can combine like terms and simplify it. G composed of F. I'm going to rewrite G with a big set of what?
Parentheses.
And then plug in. And now we've got x cubed minus 9, which you can't do anything to it. No, you can't do a shortcut because the cube root of 9 is a decimal. The square root of 9 is 3, but you can't mix a square root with a cube root. That's 2 possible test questions right there. Capiche? So make sure, am I going to ask you the first 4 on a test, or am I more likely to ask you the last 2? The last 2, because that's the ones that people are kind of fuzzy on. All right, this says demand for a certain electronic. This is plug and chug. I'm not going to go into this one. You're going to plug and chug. There it is. So I'm not going to, they're just showing you what kind of application that is. I wouldn't ask you that. As far, I'm going to worry about other things in this section, not word problems, okay? We'll worry about that later. Okay, ask 15 parts. How many parts is this thing asking? They're just asking to plug and chug, plug and chug. That's not what I want. F composed of G. Okay, make sure you make this note, because some of you on a test might see F composed of G, fog, or you might see this. Okay, you might see that, which, of course, it's not going to let me use my finger, so let me go back. Well, there. So make sure you make that note, and G composed of F can look like, so F composed of F would be F of X. So just make sure you make that little note. I'm not going into that, not going into that, not going into that. Okay, in this case, for the following composite outputs using f of x, 3x minus 1, g of x is equal to 4 minus x squared, and h of x is equal to 1 over x, give the domain of each newly function. Now this is a test question. So I want h of x, h of f. So that means I'm going to rewrite h with a big set of what? H composed of f of x is equal to 1 over parentheses, and then what goes into the parentheses? 3x minus 1. And of course they want the domain, so a vertical asymptote, you can't have 0 in the what? Denominator, so 3x minus 1 is equal to 0. 3x is equal to 1. X cannot equal 1/3. So your domain for this function would be negative infinity to 1/3, and then from 1/3 to what? Positive infinity. So make sure you know how to do that, because that is a test question. They're probably going to ask 3 or 4. All right, F composed of G. So we're going to rewrite F with a big set of parentheses. F composed of G of X is equal to 3 parentheses minus 1. And G is what? 4 minus X squared. 12 minus 3x squared minus 1, or negative 3x squared minus 12 minus 1, or plus 12, sorry. And what's 12 minus 1? 3x squared plus 11. Now, some of you, probably most of you, are saying these are pretty easy because you've done it before. But again, there may be some of y'all that kind of sucked at composition of functions, either because you didn't listen or because the teacher didn't explain it good, or both. So that's why I'm going over them. And the domain, anytime you have an x squared or x third or x fourth, and it's not a fraction or a radical, what is the domain? All real numbers. G composed of F. So G would be 4 minus parentheses squared with 3x minus 1. So that's going to be 4 minus parentheses 9x squared plus 6x plus 1, supposed to be minus. What do you have to be careful here with? That means I'm asking y'all.
The negative?
That negative right there, you have to be careful. And that's why I put parentheses in front of this. That negative is going to make everything the opposite sign. And that's going to give you 4 minus 9x squared minus 6x plus 1, negative 9x squared minus 6x. What's 4 plus 1? And what is the domain of anything that's not a fraction or a radical? All real numbers, Hubert.
Oh, all real numbers.
Thank you. Did I not get the right one? Negative. I got a 5. I got a sign. Oh, that's supposed to be a minus 1. Did I not? Hold on a second. Can I go backwards? Yeah. That's supposed to be a minus 1. My bad. I appreciate y'all letting me know I made a mistake.
Hey, you made a mistake.
Thank you. And 4 minus 1 is 3.
We just don't like putting you down.
Yeah, I
We
might have
keep you
to
up on a pedestal, you know.
I'll have to squat my truck in the back and wear sunglasses at the gym. Note this, if you have two functions, input is y1 and y, you can enter the sum, difference, product, quotient of these. Combinations of functions can be graphed or evaluated for input. So you can, I don't care there. All right here I want you to just do the last one. Okay, because most of y'all can do the first ones, okay? Do the last one. I want you to compute F composed of G at negative 3. So I want you to do that one. F composed of G and then I want you to plug in a -3. So everybody should be writing, not playing on stuff. So Pendleton, is this kind of a review, or have you never seen compositions before?
Review.
Okay. Thank you, one person that always answers me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll answer more often.
Personality, she gonna get her butt beat after class.
Right.
I'm gonna go outside and throw a book upside her head. Or taser. They might taser in the hallway. Okay, so F, I'm going to rewrite F with a big set of what?
Parentheses.
And then I'm going to plug in 2x squared minus 4. And now I'm going to plug and chug. 2 times parentheses is -3 squared minus 4, close parentheses, minus 5. And that's going to be the square root of 2 parentheses times 9 minus 4, close parentheses, minus 5. 2 times 9 is what? 18 minus 4 is what? And 14 minus 5 is?
9.
Square root of 9 is?
3.
So your answer would be 3. Make sure you can do that kind of stuff for a test, because that's what I'm going to test you on. I'll test you on addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and composition, and then you have to plug in what? A number. Now, G of F. G of F is going to be G with a big set of parentheses, 2 parentheses squared minus 4, and what are we going to plug in? We're going to plug in F, which is the square root of x minus 5, and what happens to the radical? It gets canceled out by the square, and you get 2 times x minus 5 minus 4. 2x minus 10 minus 4 is -14. I get 2x minus 14, right? And then you take that 9. Did y'all get 2x minus 14?
Yes.
Okay, and then take the 9, and you get 18 minus 14, which is what? Dang old 4. So make sure you can do the ones we did a while ago, mine that I told you, and those, because I will ask you F composed of G, G composed of F, F composed of F, G composed of G, and then I'll give you a number to plug in. And that's that. The last section is 4.3. Now again, we went over 4.2 kind of quick, but like she said, it should be a review for y'all. So, 1-to-1 and inverse. Okay, so what is an inverse? Well, let me go ahead and show you what an inverse is, and I may have gone over this because I feel like I'm repeating myself because I just went over this yesterday for 110. So if you want to get extra help, go to the 110, and that'll be extra problems because I'm going over the same stuff. What is an inverse? Well, I'm going to show you. An inverse function is anti-symmetrical to the actual function. That's what I call it. So if I give you f of x is equal to x squared, everybody knows that that function looks like what? Like that. Everybody with me? Now, what if I want the inverse function? Well, this is how you find the inverse function. The first thing you do, easily, are y'all paying attention? Because I'm starting to get pissed. Because both of you are playing with something and you're not hiding. Okay, I'm just making sure. All right, so first thing you do, y is equal to x squared. Go back to the redneck days. Then switch x and y. X is equal to y squared. Now solve for what? Y. Square root, y inverse is equal to the square root of what?
X.
Now I'm going to write this in red because if you graph this, you're going to get this. And you won't get this, but I'm trying to make a point here. Okay? The function, the square root of x, is this solid line. Do you see the symmetry right here? The symmetry is the anti-symmetry, is what I like to call it. It's right here. You've got this line going this way, and you've got the other line going in the opposite direction, but it's following the same type track as the other one. Now, if you could take the square root of a negative number, you would have a hyperbola, which is the inverse of a parabola. Everybody see that? But the reason I dashed in the bottom is because you can't take the square root of a negative number. So that's why. Or the negative number, the square root of a number can never be, oh wait, well, whatever. It just won't work. Okay? So that is an inverse. Now, what should you be able to do? This right here is a test question. Being able to find the inverse function. So make sure you can find an inverse function. Of course, they're going to show us one or two on the slides, but I just wanted to show you how to do an inverse function at its basic form. Next. So if I wanted to find the inverse of this function right here, first thing I would do is I would rewrite the function y is equal to what? Y is equal to 9/5 x plus 32. Then I would what? I would switch the variables. X is equal to 9/5 y plus 32. X minus 32 is equal to 9/5 y. Multiply both sides by 5 over what? And that will give you this right here. Just written in different forms, written under one denominator. Okay? So that's another test question, one like it. I mean, I'm not going to probably give you that one, but being able to take any function and write the inverse. Oh, and that's to the -1, don't forget. -1. Because as soon as you interchange them, that becomes y to the -1. I just put it at the end instead of the right here. There we go. Review or new? I'm asking y'all.
Review.
Okay, easily?
You.
Both.
Okay, both? Okay. So let's see if they give you another one. Compute f g of x and g. Where did that come from? Oh, they want you to plug in. Okay, we're not going to do that. I mean, that's composition. I'm not going to worry about that. Right now we're doing one-to-one function. Write this down. A one-to-one function means that there's a correspondence between the elements of the domain and the elements of the range. And you're going to see that in just a minute. There's a vertical line test and a horizontal line test. A vertical line test tells you that it is a function. Everybody remember that? Vertical line test tests to see if it's a function. Is a circle a function? No, because it crosses what? Twice. So that's the vertical line test. The horizontal line test checks to see if you have a one-to-one function. Horizontal line test checks to see if you have a one-to-one function. Now they don't have that right there, but you're going to, so a one-to-one function is this a one-to-one function? No. But a hyperbola would be a one-to-one function. One-to-one means that for every x, you get a y. Okay? This one, for every y, you get two what? X's. So a horizontal line test checks to see if you have a one-to-one function. So 5x to the fourth would not be. X to the fifth would be. Why?
Even and odd?
Well, you can say that because they both end in the what? The end in behavior. But 5x to the fourth is going to be like that. And this is going to be a vertical shift of 2 down. It's going to be regular, maybe with a little bit of a, like that. So do your horizontal line test. Now you got to be careful here because you got to look for your hidden behavior. Remember the hidden behavior? You got to blow it up and look for it. But up here, it looks like a one-to-one function here. That's why you have to be careful here. You got to be careful. And then we talked about hidden behavior, didn't we? We did?
I don't remember it.
You don't remember us
That's the
going
first
and
time I've
zooming
heard
this in? Did we zoom in and look for hidden behavior?
No. No, sir.
Have we talked about ending behavior like this?
No, sir.
I thought we talked about that. Well, it must not be in this section then. But anyway, they might be going into it the rest of 4.23. I don't know. We'll look at it. Okay? So, this one is not. That one is not because it has what? Two what? 2 intersections. This one is if we don't cross down here, because if that saddle goes like this, then that one's not. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be careful, and that's what evidently they're going to show hidden behavior later on in this section. I went into hidden behavior with the 110 class. That's why I would get it mixed up. Okay? So, of course, they're going to, the function is not a one-to-one. Which one is that one? A? It's not? Yeah, we said it's not. There. And this one should be. And you can check it by, and of course you can check it by what they're saying. Plug in. Let's go back. A is equal to -3 and B is equal to 3 are 2 different inputs, but they give you the same output. So plug in any number. Plug in, why would you plug in -3 and +3? What number would I plug in? I would plug in 0 or 1. Why would I plug in 0 or 1?
Easier.
Keep it simple. Okay? Now you could use -1 and +1. You could use -2 or +2, either one. But you'll get 2 different answers. You'll get the same answer with this one. That means it's not one-to-one. You get one answer with this one, So that means it is. Usually it's easier just to do the what? The horizontal line test. Duh. Here it is. So now, there we go. Now, when you graph these guys sometime, now I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. I don't know if they're getting into hidden behavior or not. I want you to highlight when these start getting bigger and bigger, you got to look for hidden behavior. Now, ending behavior, I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone here. Ending behavior for all odd functions. The hidden behavior is going to look like two arrows going in what direction? Opposite direction. This is called ending behavior. Ending behavior. If you have an even function, which way are the arrows going to be going? Same direction. Now write that down because that is a test question. That is a standardized test question. It's called ending behavior. And then on a cubic function sometimes, but both you have to watch. You got to watch hidden behavior. Hidden behavior is when you need to use your calculator and zoom in on the saddle. That's called the saddle right there. You got to zoom in, and when you zoom in, it may look like this, but it may come out when you zoom in. It may come in like this, which means you got a max and a what? A min. All right? Now that's called hidden behavior. And that's just a calculator drill that you learn how to zoom in. We may go into that here in just a minute. So make sure you know how to do the horizontal line test. Make sure you know how to go from a regular function to an inverse function. That's two simple things. Make sure you know how to do a horizontal line test. I think they're fixing to head to determine if has an inverse function. So let's do that one. And first of all, y is equal to x to the fifth minus 1. X is equal y to the fifth minus 1. X plus 1 is equal to y to the fifth. And the fifth root of x plus 1 is equal to y to the negative 1. Now, what does your family of graphs say about an odd root? Any root, go to your parent of graphs. What does a radical look like? Looks like that. Is that a one-to-one function?
Yes.
Why?
There's not two x's.
Because the vertical line says there's only one dot, one intersection. Now what I just did right there is a good test question. What is the domain of this function? From 0 to what?
All real numbers.
All real numbers technically, because you can plug any number in there because you can take the fifth root and get a negative. But when you graph it, you're going to see the domain is from 0, or it should be, fifth root. We'd have to graph it. Let's graph it right quick. I was going by the even root. Let's graph. I wish I could that gum. This is such a pain. Jake, what time is it?
10:38.
Okay. All right, so let me go back and find the calculator.
Don't forget, we gotta watch that video.
Jake, that's why I was asking you what time.
That's why he has.
Hey, I was.
Wake up, Jake.
I can't read your mind.
No, that's right. We're both male. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go with, that was shut up, Hubert. Don't even go there.
Not a woman.
Dang old marriage, dang old wife thinks daggum man can read your mind. Girls, there's 5 of y'all up there, right? 4 or 5 of y'all? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all that junk don't work. That mind reading thing, when you get married, it don't work. So don't try to do it. It don't work. Especially if the caveman factor on your guy is very high. First of all, if your caveman factor is very high, you don't need to marry him. Second of all, if the caveman factor is very high, that reading mind stuff, it's going to be a negative 25 on a scale from 1 to 10. So don't marry a caveman. Remember, the indicators I've been talking about, just run as fast as you can. All right, I'll shut up now. All right, so here we go. Graph. What's the graph? The 5th root. So that's going to be, what was it to the 5th root? X to the 5th root?
X to the root plus 1.
X to the 5th root plus 1?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then that means a vertical shift of 1, right? Let me look back at it again. Make sure I'm not crazy. Where is my... Well, I can't find it now. Is that it? Where's my...
It was the other.
Well, it erased it, so...
Go to the PowerPoint tab.
Right here, thank you. All right, let me look for it. Where does it say? All right, x plus 1 to the 5th power, to the 1/5 power. Okay, so I'm going to type in y is equal to parentheses, and those of you that don't know how to work your calculator, x plus 1, that's got a horizontal shift of 1 to the left. I didn't draw that on my graph. To the parentheses 1/5 power. And graph. So it does have negatives because you can't, there we go. So you see it's still a function. It's still I'm trying to get there, people, just hold on a minute. PowerPoint, there we go. It's still a function, it's right here instead. It's like this, there we go. Because you can have negative numbers, but the whole point is if you put a horizontal line through that, you're going to see that it is what? It is a 1-to-1 function. So make sure you can do that. I'm looking to see what else they're asking there. Let me read the directions and see what else they're asking. It says verify that f of x is the inverse. Okay, we did that. Find the domain and range. The domain is all real numbers because it actually, I didn't draw it correctly, because of this horizontal shift of 1 to the left, it goes like this. There we go. So the domain is all real numbers, the range is all real numbers. Now a lot of people say, well, that's a radical, Hubert. No, it's a 5th root radical. When I say a radical, domain is affected, that's when it has an even index. Odd index, you can pretty much have anything. That's a good test question. Okay, replace with f of x. Find the inverse function. Just write that one down. That's another test question. Well, we'll do it right quick. Y is equal to 4x minus 3 over 5. X is equal to 4y minus 3 over 5. 5x is equal to 4y minus 5. 5x minus 5 or plus
It's
5.
3. 4y minus 3.
Thank you. Now you're supposed to wait till I finish. That's when you're supposed to tell me. I'm sorry. You know, you're supposed to wait till I finish, and then everybody's supposed to say, yeah, that's what I thought, man. Yeah.
Okay.
5x is equal to 4y minus 3. 5x plus 3 is equal to 4y divided by 4. So 5x plus 3 divided by 4 is your inverse function. Now, you could actually rewrite that like this. You could say f of x is equal to 5/4 x plus 3/4. Somebody tell me what kind of graph this is.
That in here.
What kind of graph is 5/4 x plus 3/4? It's going to be linear. Thank you for the one person that paid attention all semester. It's going to be linear because it's x to the first. What's the y-intercept?
3/4.
What did I tell y'all about playing on your phones? I mean, good God Almighty, if y'all can't wait an hour and a half or walk outside, why do you want to insult my intelligence? That just pisses me off. I'm sorry. Might need some medication or something. If you can't go an hour and a half without playing on the damn device, you need to either go outside and play on the device or put it up. Irritates the crap out of me. It's just, I guarantee you, one or two of y'all, when you ask me a question, if you ever ask me a question, I'm going to start playing on my phone and see how you feel. Oh, heck no, can't do that. That's rude. Yes, rude when I do it, but not rude when you do it. Don't play on your damn phone during class. That pisses me off. Sorry. It's a linear, and the linear looks like that. Now, is that a one-to-one function? It should be, because it only crosses one place. So again, make sure you can find the linear, make sure you can graph the linear, and make sure you can tell if it's a one-to-one function. And of course, they go through and do that. Okay? So, and there's the function and again, what do you see? Do you see symmetry or do you see opposite symmetry? It's opposite symmetry. Dang old pet cemetery. Dang old, you go in, when you die, you're good, and when you come out, you dang old bad. Dang old pet cemetery. And there's inverses right there. There's example of inverses. As you can see, it's not symmetrical, it's the opposite symmetrical. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'm irritated, so I'm going to stop. I don't need to.
People are going to start convulsing.
Let's go ahead and. Now I'm going to have to warn everybody about the language because it's Christmas.